started, you're going to need a t-shirt of your size, knitted fabric, a cover stitch sewing machine, and this is a Singer Professional 5, and a serger, and all the links will be available in the description below, so go and check that out. You're going to want to find a t-shirt that has side seams because you're going to be cutting down the side seams and making a pattern from this t-shirt. Start at the bottom of the t-shirt and cut all the way up the side seam through the armhole. And you'll want to do this for both side seams. Once you have the side seams cut, go ahead and lay your t-shirt out flat and cut your sleeve out. And then do this for both sleeves. Now that the sleeves are gone, go ahead and cut your shoulder seams. Then you'll want to cut the neckline off of both the front and the back panels. So you're going to end up with one front panel, one back panel, and two sleeves. But you only need to use one sleeve. So go ahead, lay your front panel on the fabric, trace it, and cut it out. Then go ahead and do the same thing for the back panel. Go ahead and trace your sleeve, and you're going to trace a little bit further down so that way you can hem it up and then go ahead and cut it out. And you're going to want to end up with two sleeves. And now we're going to be using a French curve to get the offset shoulder. It's super easy. To start at the middle of the neckline and go with the curve to the outside of the shoulder. You want to go about 2 inches before the edge. And then go ahead and cut that out. And then we're going to do the same thing for the back panel, but we laid the front panel on top of it so that way we can see where to go to on the shoulder. You want to make sure those two shoulders are the same width. Then go ahead, mark it, and cut it out. Place right sides together and sew just one of the shoulder seams. And it doesn't matter which side, we're just gonna go with the longer side. Now we're going to be hemming off the bottom with a double fold bias tape binder, and the link for this is in the description below. You can use any size you want. We're using a little bit bigger one so that way we get a little bit bigger of a hem. And as you can see, you cut your bias tape out of the same fabric and you feed it through, and it makes for a nice edge. And we are showing this method because a lot of t-shirt companies are starting to do this new method, and it's really minimalistic and looks very good. And you don't have to buy extra ribbing, you can just cut it out of your same fabric, or if you want to use a different knit, go ahead and do that, switch it up with some different colors, but we're just using all the same fabric. You can get ones that fit machines, but we just found this one laying around and we taped it on and it works just as fine. But you can get ones that are specifically designed for your machine, but all in all, they're pretty universal and you can tape them on if you have to. So we're gonna start at the neckline, so all you have to do is feed your bias tape in there, get it going just a little bit, and then feed the beginning of your neckline into that feeder and just start sewing. And the machine will pull it through. All you have to do is make sure you're keeping that neckline edge within the inside of that feeder, so that way you're catching it all the way through. You can pull a little bit on the other side if you have to, if it kind of gets stuck, but I recommend not to that much because you're using knit and sometimes you'll stretch it weird and the bias tape might come out a little bit wonky. And for this part, I definitely recommend taking your time, making sure that bias tape is feeding through straight. As you can see there, it kind of started to go off a little bit, but we corrected it and then we got back on track. And it's just that easy, and you have a nice, professional, clean looking edge. And then go ahead, place right sides together and sew off that other shoulder edge. Next, we're going to be placing right sides together and sewing up the side seams. And go ahead and do this for both side seams. Next, we're going to be assembling our sleeves, and all we have to do is fold them in half and sew up that seam. And go ahead and do this for both sleeves. So next you want to take your sleeve, have it right side out, find that bottom seam, and match it up with the body side seams. And it helps if you have the body folded right sides in. So that way you slide this sleeve into place and you serge all the way around that circle. And I recommend starting at where the seams meet. So you're going to be serging from the bottom of the armpit all the way up around the shoulder and back to that bottom. Then go ahead and repeat this process for the other sleeve. Pull your sleeve right side out and find the outside edge. This will be the edge that you're hemming, so it's going to be flat. You'll see that one edge is more curved and one edge is more flat. Go ahead and start at the seam and roll it over about an inch inwards. Then use your cover stitch and sew all the way around on that edge. And this is a standard way to hem a t-shirt, so if you want to do this to the bottom, you totally can. And repeat this process for the other sleeve. Also, I highly recommend buying a cover stitch or a serger if you're using a lot of knits, because they just work with stretchy fabrics a lot better. They sew with the flex of the fabric, so if you're using a single stitch sewing machine like a regular domestic one on stretchy fabric, that thread will break when you stretch the fabric. So this is why you're using a serger and a cover stitch. And the cover stitch really comes in handy when you start hemming. The cool thing about the Singer Professional 5, it can convert into a serger and a cover stitch. So if you're looking for a versatile serger, I highly recommend checking that one out, and the link is in the description below. And then go ahead and do the same thing for the bottom edge. And then for the last step, we're going to go ahead and fold over that seam and do a little top stitch, so that way we make that neckline nice and flush. And that is how you make your off the shoulder t-shirt. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you think. We're going to keep videos coming at you, so stay tuned.